But like human beings crave stasis. They want more than anything to just like a thing and just be like, that's my thing forever.
Right.
And that's not inherently wrong. It is inherently improbable. And that's really tough. That is what I was saying. I was speaking tongues, and I thank you for bringing that back to me because I didn't know what actually came out of my mouth.
And that concludes our episode. Glad we recorded all of that, Daniel. I'm sure we didn't miss anything, right?
Right? It's been 3 fucking hours.
I got it all.
Okay, good.
It's good because the timer says 31 seconds. I'm going to take your word for it that we got all 3 hours.
Is lying to you, which is something that I wouldn't do.
I'm sure. Welcome to the Zero Dot Podcast. This is where we go when we feel like our resources are down and we want to make sure we get a little bit of a recharge. I'm joined by my good friends, John and Daniel. John and Daniel, it's been a week, hasn't it?
Oh, yes, it has. It has been 1 week, 7 consecutive days, a number of hours of that times 24. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate, and to those who don't celebrate, I also like you, and I hope you're having a nice day. Have a solid not Christmas.
Yes. Yeah. Have a great whatever it is that you do.
Have a good anti-Christmas. Go put a tree outside and then like take presents
upside down.
So like, I'm a big believer in journaling. And I'm also riddled with the kids are calling ADHD. So I don't like do one of these. I don't do one of these. I do this. I talk to my phone while I'm driving. Just like I have like a 30-minute drive a couple times a week. So I just like talk about things to myself. And I was listening back to them the other night, and everyone, I'm like, God, these roads, like, what the fuck? It's so windy, so much snow. Like, I think there's a collective, like, just like a chip damage. Like over time, my brain's just like, everything's so just cold and slow. And like, we have that undignified ice right now. Because there's like, like there's day 1, snowfall is pretty poofy, snowy, just delightful. And then there's like day 2, and you're like, oh man, it's kind of fun, but like we can get around now. And there's like day 18, and it's like everything's fucking cold, and there's ice, and it's uneven, and I can't fucking drive, and it's drifting. And you have to like, if you've ever been in a snowy area, if you haven't, I'm going to teach you some shit right now. People will drive their cars in the snow. You with me so far? Makes sense. Cars typically have 2 sets of tires, like, front and back, and they're in line. So what'll happen is you make these little paths, and the car behind you will drive in the same path, and it will just kind of stay. So you have this nice little lane you can stay in. But the wind happens, and it moves the path. So everybody's like, okay. So what will happen is whoever on the far side of the road is now driving with 1 tire off the road because we're staying in lines that were made by the wind. You can't beat Mother Nature. You can't do it. She cheats.
Nature always wins. Nature always wins.
She does have the hacks.
She does.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So it's been a year. I think I can say that. It's been a year.
Yes.
One of the years of all time, I'm sure.
There was this running joke in 2020 where the people would be like, I was saying it was my year and I was wrong. Like, that's my bad. Let me take that back. Like, no. And I sort of feel like a remix of that joke is appropriate because I would describe 2025 as just like a real stinker. Just like not a fun old time. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. If you're a time traveler and you, for some reason, are using this show to base your destination on, go ahead and skip 2025. There's some really good video games in it, like genuinely, but like I don't have a lot of other good stuff. My football team is good as well this year. So, but that's it. That's kind of what I have to offer. Maybe skip it. Maybe keep going.
Yeah. Remember when we thought 2017 was like the worst year? Because 2017 we had so many people die. Like we had David Bowie die. We had a bunch of like horrible people dying like right before the new year happened. We were like, this is the worst year ever. Remember that?
Yeah.
I've had a terrible realization, and we'll be changing the nature of this show based on what I've come to think of. And I hope my co-hosts can get along with it before I hijack this. I'm looking directly in the camera, so you know that I'm serious. Listeners, that's what I'm doing. Even you should be included in this. Sam draws attention to the fact that people died in 2017, and everything was kind of fine. So I think what we should do is start a death cult, and just people die, and it'll postpone problems. So is this making sense to people? Because I feel like a blood sacrifice kind of thing could be good. So, just put that on the back burner, kick it around, see how you feel about it. Could be fun.
Are you talking about a purge, John?
I'm not talking about the purge in that I think it's a little too theatrical. I think this would be just sort of just like, boop, 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 done. Like next year. We'll do like maybe like some sort of lottery. That couldn't end poorly. Just see what happens. You know, they could make a play about it, perhaps. Shout outs to my people in high school English classes. You're loving that joke, or you're not, or you're resentful of me that you had. I'm sorry. I've made a mistake. But we're going through on the blood sacrifice thing.
Let's be very clear. Zero Dot does not wish bad ill against anyone. But you know, maybe the problem is just not enough people passed this year. I don't know. I didn't look at the data on that one yet.
Maybe not enough people died. Maybe that's the problem.
No, we're doing it. I'm tired of.
I mean, the reason the Zero Dot is here because we're all alive. I mean, one of us should have died. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was me. I don't know.
I just. This is off to a real dark start today.
This is all you, John. I'm going with your train.
No. I could, choo choo, motherfucker. Like let's do this thing to the end of the line.
All aboard. Let's go.
All aboard. Yep.
Let it be known, 3 adult men laughing about the prospect of death.
Well, here's the thing. I feel, and this can be a part of a show or not. I do feel like you kind of have to laugh at the crazy bullshit these days because there's so much of it. And if you don't laugh at it, it's real scary times. One of these days, I have a show to talk about the results of those scary times. We'll see if the mad producer Daniel decides that's today or a different day. But I'll leave that for the future.
I enjoyed the title that you gave me, the mad producer. Yeah, I like that. That's
you have sort of Mad King vibes. Like if you were to like sit like this and like just have like I don't know like a scepter and like a goblet of wine, a goblet.
Here I am with my goblet.
A little buzzball. Right, that's a good goblet hand for the listeners who aren't viewers, which is maybe redundant. Well, no, I guess viewers also listen. They don't put it on mute and do. Well, for the dear one specific viewer who watches this on mute and reads the closed captioning, thank you for tuning in. You are a neat, esoteric creature, and we would be less of a good show without you. My new like favorite meta joke is like how all the things that are bad for us are hilarious. Like, oh no, we've survived so well that we no longer have to go out and toil in a field and backbreakingly do labor and die in our early 30s. So now instead we're too sloppy in our chairs and we make our bodies sad. It's just like, oh, suffering from success. Shout outs to DJ Khaled. Some say the greatest musician of our time. He specifically does. I love that.
He says that, yeah.
What a model of self-confidence. I enjoy him so much.
Human beings were meant to have a physicality to their life. And we said, nah, man. Nah. We are dealing with the repercussions of that.
It is really funny. I don't mean to go on this evolution rant, but I always go on it in my head. Like, we were built to do this one thing, and like low-key, it sucked. It was like work really hard, be afraid all the time, die. And then we were like, well, what if we like lived longer and we're less afraid? And then our brains were like, no, dog, I gotta be afraid.
We are in fact still afraid.
I gotta be worried about some shit. And if it's not saber-toothed tigers, it's gotta be like that Timmy has a nicer chair than me, and that means I'm inadequate and therefore cannot procure a mate because of my inadequate chair.
I might die. Yeah.
And I might die. That's also the best part is that our brains are wired to think in terms of you will die or not. I think that's the funniest thing in the world. It's necessary though. You ever meet a person who doesn't have like a functioning amygdala? Like you didn't because they're dead. Because they just walked into traffic like neat and they were just gone.
So you could always tell when I'm segmenting, when I'm going into another section of the podcast because I'll say, so.
That's, I like it when you say boys.
Lads. Brutalman. Shout out to that 1 second reference.
Yeah, that one. that one time. You all remember that one time, right?
That one time at Zero Dot Camp.
Yeah. What else do you find whimsical and lovely, John? What do you have for us this week? What do you have for us this week? I mean, it might not be whimsical, but what do you have that could take us away from this fear of not having good chairs and passing away?
I have 2 things. I always have 2 things.
2 things. And whoa. Daniel only asked for 1. You're going above
down. We've got
calm down.
Many more episodes after this that you can use these on.
I don't want to let the fans, how presumptuous of me. Dear the Zero Dot viewing audience and or listening audience, we don't know what to call you. I've been calling you like buddies or like
Zero
Dotties or whatever. But if you have a cool name idea,
the
you should let us
ZDs.
know. ZDs is fun, but also it really sets up a thing that I don't want to happen. Maybe you can hear it as you say it out loud.
It also sounds like a dish, ZD.
That's true.
Which is a nice dish, but
I have a bunch of breakfast food crap to say. None of it's relevant. I'm not doing it. I won't do it. I'll never do it. Even on Patreon, I won't do it. You can't make me. Anyway, here's a problem. So if you've ever been a psychology student before, you will learn some stuff about humans. And then you'll learn later, if you're a good psychology student, that those things might be slightly wrong because most psychology studies, maybe still statistically most, were normed on a specific population of like kind of whitish college-aged males because that's what sets up for studies. And there's this sort of creeping issue of how's a smart way to say this? We don't have representative groups of different people. So in another hard pivot, I would talk about how this can be impactful for, say, women. One thing that's interesting, if you were ever aware, okay, we're going on another tangent. This is a very ADHD-friendly episode, and for everyone else, strap in. There was a cartoon in the 90s. It's called the Crash Test Dummies. If you remember this, you're officially one of my dear friends, and I love you.
I do remember this.
Well, you're one of my dear friends, and I love you.
I wasn't before. Interesting. Got it.
Well, you were like a C-. It's fine. But
fair enough.
If you recall the Crash Test Dummies, they had several things that they had going. They have a head, a little thing representing a neck to handle the jostling in the actual car accidents. And they also were yellow. And they recently have started to make, I want to tie all this crap together. It's coming together in this sense. Here we go. They've recently started to make crash test dummies that are shaped like the anatomy of women. So now when women get into car accidents, they're not being normed off of people who are my size, body type, and shape, and they can actually be protected in a way that accounts for their actual physiology. Which, as it turns out, is really important. Because if you ever tried putting on clothes for someone who is a different size and shape than you go, that's whimsical. This doesn't work. If you've ever used a safety restraining device to keep yourself alive that wasn't designed for you, you're like, I'm going to fucking die. Which, as it turns out, is bad. So I think this is really nice. They've said it's long overdue and is meant to close decades of safety gaps in vehicle crash testing. The Transportation Department of the United States unveiled their first crash test dummy modeled specifically on female anatomy, which is a movement to close the difference in damage. And they say this, let me get this stat right. So men make up the majority of annual car crash victims. As we know, men go hard. Not always a good thing in this case. Frequently not. Actually, men are in way more car accidents. If you ever paid insurance for your car and you're a man, you already know this. But women are, and I believe it was 73% more likely than men to sustain serious injuries in a crash. Isn't that fun? No, it's a disaster. And that's why this is happening, is to make up for that stat. Because despite being in less accidents when they're taking more damage, because the protection we have in our cars hasn't been designed to specifically help that type of body. So I just think it's good. I have this really brave take that we should help all people, and not just
very brave
people who are shaped
John,
like me.
Geez, you're such a warrior for saying that.
I don't want to say that I'm a hero, so maybe someone else will.
Hero.
Oh, that felt good. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean the amount of times, my lovely other gendered individuals and friends say they get into a car and they're like, "This is uncomfortable. This isn't fun. This feels like it's I feel like I'm being smushed in this car seat or this seat belt." Related but not related, we were just at Epic Universe near Epcot, and my wife and I rode on many, many, many rides. And I can tell you, 99% of those rides were not meant for women. They were meant for skinny young men. They did not account for different anatomical parts of women. So I'm a big fan of this. Big fan. John, do you know? I'm just curious if, as you're reading about this, this is a fun, cool thing. Why did it take him so goddamn long to do this?
I
do know. Cause? Do we have something that just inspired them? We got to do it now, not 30 years ago.
Well, shout outs to my home state of Illinois, Tammy Duckworth, who's a senator from there, and other people have been pushing for it. And I think honestly, and this is just kind of a bummer. One of the main reasons is because we just typically don't prioritize women's health care. We just kind of don't do it. It's a thing that is weirdly undervalued and studied. If you have any women in your life, one of them will surely tell you a story of going to a doctor and being told that they're just anxious. And here's the thing. You can be anxious and also have a real problem. It can be anxiety making a thing worse, and you can still have I don't know. What's the one that so many people that I love have right now. PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. That was getting like just ignored.
Spoke to someone literally yesterday with that exact thing.
Same. So I don't know. We're pretty big on inclusivity here at the old Zero Dot, and I feel like the literal basic safety of people is kind of a non-negotiable. So I'm very glad, but I think historically there perhaps have been certain dominant forces and parties that really did not just have enough empathy for others, and therefore just kind of didn't consider it. So yay for people voicing their stuff and saying, "Hey, this sucks for me," and yay for people following through with it and making a little bit better of a world for all of us. It does just make me happy.
It does. I get a little mad because I feel like it should happen sooner, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I feel like there's a thing with that. Really solid take so far, John. But the thing is that like we have so much catching up to do as a creature, as humans in general, because of so many things that are backwards. And if you can help yourself, this is hard, by the way. This is actually like a mildly spicy take. So if you hate this, I'm sorry, but like I'm gonna say it anyway. This isn't pausing for dramatic effect. This is pausing because ADHD took my idea and ran to the minds. But the gist of it is like, I think finding ways to laugh at the things that are stupid and bad is important.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it contributes to a lot of resentment and anger. Yeah. And that is a thing that builds up and just does catastrophic damage. And there are so many reasons to feel that. And this is not me saying don't be angry. Be angry. Feel whatever your feelings are. Just at the same time, like, I believe in celebrating progress. Not because we shouldn't have had to do it earlier, but because like I'm glad that it's happening now. One like little fun thing I would let people in on with this is that whenever I am doing my little like kicking around the interwebs for things to talk about that are lovely before we do our shows, it's kind of nice because for me there's like an avalanche of just like good things to talk about. Like I struggle to pick a thing or two to talk about because there's just a whole bunch of really nice things. And putting that kind of information does have a very demonstrable effect on your outlook. We'll talk about gratitude sometime, maybe today, who knows? It's just, it really shapes how you feel, and feeling is kind of everything for humans. So with that, I will stop rambling.
No, I mean, I'm a big believer in, anger is a valid emotion, but holding on to anger is not a good thing. It's not good for you biomechanically. It's also a little selfish. Just let the feeling pass through you. And then, I like John's hack of finding the humor in all kinds of things. That way you can live a better life and just be more at homeostasis with yourself. I think we all deserve that. But yep, that's good stuff. Love it. So, John, I have a question for you for us to discuss a little bit.
Shoot.
And I think you have some insight on this. In the year of 2025, which has been one of the years of all time, it has been, and a stressful time for many, many, many people. Even those of us that are doing well in life, they can still say there's a lot of stresses to it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think in times like this, in the year 2025 and onwards, it's really easy for us to slip into this mindset of, oh, it is what it is. We just got to deal with it. We just got to deal with it. And I think you and I have interesting feedback and data to suggest that actually you should recognize not just the stresses in your life, but recognize how it's impacting you and your environment, and actively work towards changing your environment so that way those stresses aren't on you every single day. The amount of people I know, really wonderful, amazing people, they hate their job. Their home situation sucks. Where they're living just isn't fun, and they just go, well, I'll just keep being that lobster in the slowly boiling water, and I'll just be here forever now. It's my job to handle it. And the amount of times I convey and talk to them and say, the stresses that you have, they're at a toxic level now, and you owe it to yourself to make a change about that. But the hard thing is, how do you convince people that? How do you talk to people about that? How do you get people to see that versus just settling for it is what it is, John? That's my question to you.
It's a really good question. So I both like this topic a lot, and I also feel sad about it. I am
That's
not
why it's
shy.
called the bad.
I'm not shy about the volume of my experience as a therapist. and the things that I've seen and the significant change that people make, like I have a lot of data to pull from. It's part of why I'm here on this show. And the bad sad, I don't want to say bad like as in like a child just died for no reason, but like bad as in like fuck, there has to be a better way to do this. And spoiler alert, there's not. Is okay. I'm gonna half answer that clearly and then fully answer it now. I believe we maybe touched on motivational interviewing before. Does that ring a bell for you guys?
We did.
Okay.
Motivational fit. Yeah.
So the notion of questioning people, how does this serve you? And letting them go through whatever they're at right now begins to kind of stir the pot on willingness to change. And what's really hard is human beings, this is so sad, but like human beings crave stasis. They want more than anything to just like a thing and just be like, that's my thing forever. And that's not inherently wrong. It is inherently improbable. And that's really tough. I give an example of this that I see all the time in my job, which is a relationship doesn't go bad, it goes stale. So you'll have a person who has a friend and they'll hang out for years. They're like best buddies in college or whatever have you. And now they're just kind of growing apart. And no one's done anything wrong. No one's done anything villainous. But there's this level of like, damn, I keep trying to hang out with Timmy and he just like is never available and it just sucks. Like, what do I do? And the real answer is you say you probably start to invest in other relationships. But I can't tell someone to do that, right? If you have a therapist who tells you what to do, you don't have a therapist, by the way. You have a coach. Those are different things. Don't let therapists do this. We should offer you stuff, but not tell you what to do. Anyway, to help people feel that, you have to do two things. One is help them decide that their current thing isn't for them, which involves differentiating acceptance from like genuine suppression of dissatisfaction. So let me think of an example or two of this. If you're a person who wants to like get a different job, shit, let's talk about that's a really good one. So I'm gonna come at this, of course, from a millennial perspective because I am one. We were kind of taught growing up that like, hey man, if you just get a thing you're good at and just go work at a job, you just climb the old corporate ladder and you'll get to the top and you're gonna be so great. And then we learned via like live experience. I'm doing that, and I do appear to be very stuck. I don't think this is going anywhere. How do I, hey, corporate overlord, how do I ascend? And they'll go, and the honest ones would go, I don't know that you will, dog. I'm sorry, man. Like this might be a bit of a logjam. And then the person goes, I don't want that to be the way that it is, but I'm in stasis right now. I'm sort of comfy. So I don't want to change. My example of this, and probably a better summative point of it, is about my license. So I am an LPCC in Minnesota, and I'm an LCPC in Illinois. And if that's confusing, it is. It's really weird. We have state by license. It's very dumb. Anyway, the point being, the way you do it in my counselor town is you study, then you get your degree, and then you work, and you have like clinical hours. And you have to have, I believe, it's 2,000 hours. It's been a long time since then. It takes approximately 2 years of like being in practice full time. And for me, I got through 2 years, and then I could take my big boy therapist test. And I didn't, because what I would have had to do is go study. I'm old, and I graduated at grad school on the DSM-4. Those of you who are aware of these things now know that the DSM-5 is out, which means I had to teach myself the DSM-5 by candlelight in my own room at night. It wasn't by candlelight, but the rest of that's actually true. And that test was really time-consuming and, frankly, not a lot of fun, and secretly not a very good metric of if you're a good therapist. But don't tell anyone I said that. Actually do. But the point being, I didn't hurt enough to make the change. Nothing was terrible. I had enough income. I was okay. I wasn't getting enough that I could pay all my bills super comfortably. I couldn't like do anything new. I couldn't go to a new place or get a new TV or anything else, but I was okay. Mm-hmm. And then all the things in my life started to be like, well, wouldn't you like to live in a bigger city? Wouldn't you like to have a car that works? Wouldn't you like to not worry about rent? Wouldn't you like to, and all these things start to add up. And it became very clear that the whole pathway for me was to study and get ready for this big test. I just kept not doing it. So for like 2 more years, I just keep like grinding and feeling happy with my friends, happy with like my free time, my health, and just kind of dissatisfied. So the thing that helped me come over the top was, frankly, the loving pull of others and not the push. So I would have people be like, why aren't you doing this? You need to do this. And I'd be like, tuned out. Nope, not going to hear it. But people were like, hey man, I want you to have good things. And that made me feel things, and that made me have kind of this, not to be too self-congratulatory, but this courage to be like, all right, I'll try a thing. So what you're doing is to answer your question after 400 years, you're building a sense of momentum emotionally by establishing that you have a need for change and you believe you're capable of change and that people are helping you cheer yourself on. This is a little tricky because as an American, we have had it institutionalized in our heads that be a strong individual, which is like, oh, that's great. That's fun. Have a little training montage for yourself. But at the same time, having people around you who encourage you to help you grow is a huge deal. It really facilitates this. But the thing, kind of a throwaway line from earlier, it can't be pressure. Pressure doesn't make people grow. Pressure leads to paralysis. Pressure leads to shame. Sometimes pressure in the clutch is like, we're not going to be okay. We have to do it. That's a different thing. That's crisis. That's survival. Whereas for facilitating change, for specifically the example of getting a new job, a person has to say, when they're stable specifically, a person has to say, I think I can do this, and I think it's worth it. To establish those two things. And typically people get stuck on one of the two.
That comment about it's worth it, doesn't it? I think people also need to have a good sense of self too.
True.
So if you believe this is all I deserve in life, or I deserve even worse, or who am I? I'm nobody. I think you have to have an element of, no, I deserve more and I want to live a value accordant life. And this is not jiving right now and something needs to change. I think that needs to be part of the motivating factor as well.
Absolutely. It's the sense of self thing is really hard. This is a thing that I think about a lot. And if you are a viewer / listener and you have thoughts about this, I would love to learn more about it because as I increase my sample size of people's experiences, it's enriching for me, helps me learn more about people. But you kind of don't, and I'm speaking globally, so feel free to argue with me, but you kind of don't know who you are until your life is a third over. You have to be in your late 20s-ish, if that, to know yourself. Dear 18-year-old who I just made angry, I'm so sorry. I am sincerely sorry. But there's so much more coming. There's so much more change coming. As you enter the world of professional work, you might be like, you know what, actually, this fucking sucks. I don't like doing this. You might be like, actually, my friends and my partner that I've invested in heavily, I think I maybe don't actually want this. Or maybe you're like, I've been this way, and I think this way makes me feel bad. I want to change this thing.
Yeah.
So as you get that sense of self that enables you to change, a lot of time has to pass. And you have to try on, this might sound weird, you have to try on different selves. I, so stupid, said with love for myself. I tried to be a tough guy for a hot minute. I was gonna getting into boxing and shit. And that's dumb for me. I'm not a tough guy. I'm a little sweetheart. I'm a little baby. I'm a little gentle guy. But I just was maybe if I do this, I'll be safer. Maybe if I do this, I'll have access to the things that I want. I know I have friends who tried to be super, and they were succeeding, lucrative business bros. And then they were like, I'm rotting from the inside out. I want to go paint pots. And they did, and they're happier. But I think that it's also, to speak to that sense of self, it's really scary to endorse oneself as this is my thing, because people will have reactions to it, especially if you're young. Especially if you're say in middle school, which is where we all have collective trauma. But fostering that sense of self and taking swings at bat and being okay with missing is how you do this. So it really, in my opinion, boils down to teaching yourself to be okay with missing. To try on a hat and be like, that hat doesn't fit at all. Okay. As opposed to that hat doesn't fit at all, and I don't think I'll find one that does. Very long answer. Hello, I am John. I'm part of the Zero Dot team, and I'm here with yet another take you've never heard before. I think YouTube metrics and the way this site works is getting better all the time. But because I'm a counterculture rebel, we're doing Patreon anyway, even though YouTube is doing a great job and I'm happy with it. It's not concerning to me or you. But if perhaps I was saying this under duress and I really wanted you to click a link and find better content and help us escape platforms that, maybe are totally satisfying, you could maybe find it below. Please hurry before they take this down.
It's a great answer. Yeah, I mean, people I talk to all the time in my goings of the world, there's people that it's really a rarity to talk to someone and they're exactly where they want to be, and they're feeling it. They're like, "Yep, I love what I do. I'm providing a service to my people. I love helping my team. I love the company that I work for. I couldn't be happier." And I'm like, that's amazing. And I asked them the questions, what brought you to where you are now? It says, honestly, when I think about the influence I could have on my life and everything else and the things that I want out of life, this kind of fits all the boxes. It goes into that gratitude thing you talk about quite a bit, John, about just that when they really zoomed out and goes, if the life that I wanted, what would I need? I'm like, well, I'd want to have a job that serves my community, and I'm actually a contributor to that. I want to have a job that has an element of intellect with some physicality to it, so that way I just feel good about the job. I want to feel good after every single day's worth of work, like I've done something. I'm not just a cog in a system. And I want to build meaningful relationships with people while I'm on the job, meaning the people that I work with. And yeah, sure, I might not be working in an industry that I would want to, or, I had a dream, Sam, of being a film director one time, and that would have been nice. But like this right now, this is great. Like I love what I do. And that's rare. Most people that I talk to, they go, well, I have this job because ... It supports my family. I have kids. I have a wife. I have a husband. Put my kids through college, pays the bills. And then some people go, I'm in this job because ... Well, all jobs suck, so it's fine. That's what they say. And it always breaks my heart. It always breaks my heart when that's where they are at. Because it requires a mind shift change if they ever wanted to make a change like that.
Was thinking about this today, in the context of generations. And this is, to be very, very clear, this is not me taking shots at any generation. I just kind of like people. We all, raised in different batches and groups and times, so we have different values. We'll internalize different things as normal. And there are strengths to every generation, and there are challenges to every generation. I do think my generation, millennials, said with compassion for us, we're sort of like tragic heroes in our show. Like, the shit got real hard for us, and I don't need to like paint you the picture if you are a millennial, but like 9/11, scary war stuff, graduate with no jobs available, economic crisis, houses don't exist, scary political stuff, COVID. Like, it's just been like boom, 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 boom. Like, things are just been, it's been spooky. But this is kind of a shout out in a way to Gen Z, because they don't deal with this. They're not like, yeah, just a job's a job. They're like, nope, I don't want that. I'm not going to do that. I need to feel something. Sorry,
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
And it's because and I don't mean to take credit for it. I think they've seen kind of our angst and been like, oh God, no, Jesus.
I don't want that. Yeah.
I don't want that. That seems really bad.
Yeah.
And I genuinely don't want to like shit on the boomers here a little bit, because the model that they endorse worked. Like, for them, it worked.
For them.
Like,
yeah.
It did. It doesn't work anymore for systemic reasons and other reasons. We can get into that another time. But like, there's a level of being like, but I did the thing and it worked. There's this divide of, I don't see how your pursuit of change makes sense to me because it doesn't line up with mine. And to stay generationally, and I'm speaking in generalisms here, so that's a little iffy of me, but there's this sort of millennial hopelessness of like, we watch the dream slip from our fingers and go, oh, fuck. And Gen Z, and I love them. I love them for this, is like, I'll go down swinging. I'm going to get the dream or I'm going to die. And there's this weird, and they're famous for this sort of apathy of just like, I don't care if it works. I'm just going to do it. Like, I'm just going to live in the now. And I think that can be very empowering. But also, and this is not, once again, not a knock on Gen Z. It can also lead to sort of I believe, kind of a short-sightedness, and not like they're foolish, but like they just literally are looking right here instead of like right here. So making changes can be hard when you aren't concerned about changes, because you have this sort of view of like, I only want to pursue meaning, which, once again, not a bad thing. So it's kind of a different thing per, your age group, your stage, your end of life, whatever else have you. And then also, as Sam was alluding to earlier, prioritizing yourself. I know a lot of parents who would like to change careers because their career, while actually often fairly lucrative, does not feel good. It either has like on-call hours where you're like constantly stressed out, or it has pressure that has grown cataclysmic. And they're like, but I can't change because going back to school would be a pause in our finances, and that kills my family. So finding ways to say it's okay to prioritize myself, there is a level of practicality there, because like if people die if I stop doing this, I just genuinely can't. But I think even then, helping yourself build like a narrative of like, I'm going to, though. Good news about that, by the way. Having hope, generally a good thing. There's a scary part that you could lose the hope, but like The alternative of not having hope, so you can't lose any, disastrous. Like absolutely terrible. No upside.
Hope is a secret good tech. And by secret, I mean everyone knows it. People are afraid, though.
Yeah. Well,
what did I say about realists? Realists are cowardly optimists. Yeah.
No, for sure. I do think I'm going to get off my generational horse here in just a second, but I do think there has become a prevailing negative outlook on things that I maybe is one of the topics that I submitted to talk about because I think it's really important. In that, like, we are such an internet built society at this point. I mean, dear person observing this, you know that because we're doing it right now, unless you are like in this room with me, in which case that's fucking terrifying. Please come out and show me where you are. But the internet operates incredibly efficiently in certain ways. It has streamlined to a science the things that people like are gravitated towards. All of those things involve distress. And that's not me being hyperbolic, and that's not me being mean or shitty or shamey or anything. Humans respond to distressing material. If I show you two videos, one that's like ice cream, pretty tasty, and one that's like this ice cream is causing people to die in Kentucky, that's the one you're clicking. It's just going to happen that way. And I think that when you're impacted by this general, like, I am weary, I am tired, your brain, which is an animal, wants to seek respite. It wants to go crawl in its cave and feel safe. And I'm like, hey, come out of the cave. We're going to go build a bridge and help some guys. You're like, dude, like, no, the cave is real warm and those guys are far away. And I am so tired and scared. So it's hard. And it does come back to feelings. Surprise, surprise. Therapist thinks feelings are important more at 11, but they are. They're central. Humans are motivated more by emotional choices than logical choices. If you don't know that, make sure you know that. It's incredibly important to know that.
Yeah. And you know what, John? It sucks if you know that because people don't want to believe it. Like it sucks. True. It sucks being the person you talk to someone and they're under distress, whatever, and they're telling you how they think they're being so rational. Like you're not being rational. Like your limbic brain's taking over, which is totally fine. That's how the brain works. It's doing survival things. I do. Then I think about it later. Now you're post retroactively rationalizing it, and all of it's bullshit, by the way. But they don't want to believe it because we have to believe we're the hero of the story, and we have to believe that we are on top of it all, and it just sucks knowing that.
Yeah, no, it does. I have this reframe that I use a lot, and if this gets lost on people, that's more than fine. I fear it may be slightly pretentious and or self-indulgent. I don't care. I really like it. Which is, I think of humans as viewed by the ultimate alien species who looks down at us and sees us being primitive and thinks we're adorable. Like, oh, they're all corporeal and stuff. When they like each other, they extend their limbs and do this. How fucking cute is that shit?
Yeah.
And each one of them thinks they're like important. None of them fucking matter. But look at this guy. He bought a hat and he thinks people are going to like it more. That's amazing. And like, if you can stay out of the condescension part of it, it is genuinely actually kind of cute that we all think we're the main character. And it's okay. You're supposed to. You're biologically supposed to. Like being like, oh, this guy's got main character energy. I know it's kind of a popular phrase these days. Well, he's built to. And so are you.
Everyone is.
And that's okay. You're supposed to. If you're just like, yeah, I'm an NPC, I follow Sam around and try to make his show better. When the show's not on, I just go like T-pose and just like wait for the next show. That's like a terrible existence and no one should do it. And yet we all kind of assume people do. Are you familiar with frisson? Okay, hang on a second. I'm gonna Google this definition to make sure I don't say it wrong, but it's my favorite thing. You'll notice that I say it's my favorite thing, and then I always say this is my actual favorite thing. This might be my favorite thing for realsies. It's a neurological emotional response when things trigger these intense feelings via dopamine release. I often get this when I realize that other people have lives. There's a thing when I was a kid, I would like look up at I'd like press my face.
You'd look at the planes, right? You said this before, yeah.
Yeah, the planes. And I would think about like how there's someone on that plane having their own life and how I might meet them someday in like Miami, Florida, or perhaps we'll be at a conference in Calgary, or perhaps we'll brush into each other in like an elevator in like New York. And it just is like, wow, what an amazing tapestry of wonderful things. And like life feels so good. Tapping into that with other people is an amazing feeling. Feeling just like the joy of existence, like just like embracing a moment, right? And it's okay. It's not even okay. It's important to savor those little things because the big crunch of like be better, stay alive, get stuff, be good enough. The systems we are in this is gonna get a little intense for like a ZD take, but like the systems we're in are crumbling under their own weight. They're built as short-term systems. And this isn't me taking a shot at anybody, but like indefinite growth will fail. You can't do it. You go to the gym, you pick one new pound, lift one more pound per week on your squat. You can do that shit for years. And then suddenly you can't. 1 pound, 2 pound, 3 pound. And then eventually you're like, and now I'm like 337, 338, 339, and your CNS just shuts down. And I think we're kind of experiencing that as a society. The things that we want to do are becoming hard to do, which is good news, great news about humans. When this happens, we make societal and global change. Scary news, that can be kind of an uncomfortable process.
Yeah. I talk to companies all the time, and I talk to executives, and they're always, they're very growth oriented. Like, got to make sure we grow more, got to make sure our QBR is looking good, and got to make sure that, we're seeing, significant growth in this area by 2018, 15, whatever number they arbitrarily make up. It's a real nice treat if you ever talk to the one company that's like, we just want to like be around forever. And some days we're going to grow and some days we're not. And that's okay. But like, our goal isn't to grow forever. Our goal is just to be in the game as long as we can, whatever that means. I'm like, nice. All right. Now we can have a good conversation, because this whole conversation about just, hey, our quarters are down, we got to keep growing. I don't want to have that conversation anymore, because eventually it's just going to fall apart. Infinite growth is not possible. And your analogy about, lifting weights is powerful, because newbie gains is a thing. The first time you're lifting weights, yeah, you're going to grow a lot, but that's not going to be the same rate of growth throughout your entire career lifting weights. If that was the case, we'd all be Hulk, like literally the Hulk, and that's just not possible. There's limits to our biomechanics there. There's limits to life, limits to nature, limits to everything. And I think sometimes that, if people realize that, John, that does the opposite effect. If it actually shuts people down. Like, oh, I have a limit. What's the point? I'm never, I'm 5'6". I'll never be an all-star athlete for, the Chicago Bulls. What's the point? People say that. But I think there's empowerment there too. I think there's empowerment in knowing there's things you're good at. There's things you have a propensity for, things you have preferences for. And then you've only got so much time on this planet before you're gone. What are you going to do with that time? What are you going to do with that time? And I always find that empowering. Some people get really upset by that, but I think just, I could not wake up tomorrow. That's a possibility for whatever reason. And that sounds depressing, but it's like, okay, what am I going to do today to make sure that if that happens, it was a good day and I did something. I did something of value. It's something that made sense to me. It can be really small things. And what gratitude can I have for that? And then that fuels me to go, okay, I'm in a situation I don't like right now. How can I get out of it? How do I change it? How do I do stuff? And just recognizing the stresses on life and everything else. We've talked about quite a few things now, and I can tell John's typing away. My fervent listeners, John's doing that thing where he's like, shh. He has billions of thoughts. He's also doing the eyebrow raise. Very, very, very classy of him to do that. And he's doing the dance. I have one more question, but I'll let John say his spiel, whatever the spiel is, before my last question here.
Prepare yourself for my triple-shotted spiel. 3 things. One thing that Sam just alluded to, which is incredibly healthy, and if you aren't in the space with Sam, that's totally okay. You can get there. Sam has very high self-efficacy. He is a man who believes if he cannot do a thing right now, he'll find a way to do a thing, and if he can't, he'll find a different way to get to the thing he wanted to. That's incredibly healthy, and I want you to be able to foster that and grow that. It's really good for your brain. There's reasons people can't. One of the reasons people can't, the most common one, says I, is depression or anxiety. Anxiety goes, you can't, and if you try, here are the risks of what you'll experience if you fail. That is a paralyzing thing. If you've ever, I don't know, like you buy a gym membership, you buy a new video game computer system, maybe you buy some new clothes to wear out, maybe you do whatever, a piece of your brain goes, if we spent resources on this and it doesn't pay out, we're one step closer to death and failure. And then it floods your brain with scary time juice and things get really hard. Some good news to know. 1, that is a glitch. That awareness, even if it is true, is not beneficial, right? Because it's the same thing as being like, a second passed, I'm closer to death. A second passed, I'm closer to death. A second passed. It's true, but like, who fucking no one benefits from that. That's a stupid, like, and that's not you. That's not you. That's your amygdala. He's a little dumb, silly boy, and he can only think about those things. That's okay. Another really good thing. I'm going to do a bad thing and then a good thing, so I end on a good thing. Check that out. Genius.
Whoa, hack.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty good.
You're pretty
bad. So the thing is, this global miasma of hopelessness. See, pretty bad. Is it miasma or miasma? Or is this like a British versus American English thing? Because I know respite
I think
and
it's
respite are
miasma,
different.
but John, it sounds so much better when you say miasma. I don't know why.
I say miasma.
Okay. I like miasma because I think I associate it with a video game I played long ago called the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Anyway,
when you say miasma, it sounds like you're saying meow, and I love it. Keep going.
Miasma. So this miasma of hopelessness, I feel like is really scary, right? Like you turn on your phone and you look at the news, and the news is like, guess what? Things are bad. AI going to require all the chips. No more of that. Economy bad. Friends bad. Health bad. Everything bad. And it gets really hard to go to this place of self-efficacy because you're like, dude, if everything's bad, can I even put a dent in this? Which leads me to my happy thing, which is yes, you can. You absolutely can. My favorite, I do say that all the time. My favorite thing is that humans are naturally self-actualizing. This is a real thing. You are built to overcome your shit. And this isn't me being a woo-woo hype man. This is me being a scientist. Like you're built to overcome obstacles and pursue them. If you wake up and you go, oh my God, there's a snake in my room. You're not like, well, I'm going to let it eat me. You'll be like, well, fuck. And then you'll like try to get a stick or get around it or prop your door open and hop over it or like go out your window. Like your brain wants to handle things. If you're a person who wants to like get into art, your brain wants to get an art supply and try some stuff out. We're built to succeed at stuff like that, and not succeed like conquer, win, be the best. Like we're just built to grow. That's what we're supposed to. It's one of the most powerful things about humans is we are built to learn. It's why we kind of won evolution. But and how our brains are huge. Anyway, the point being, the obstacle and like my entire job as a therapist is to figure out the things that are in the way of that self growth. So in this context, in the context of like looking for a better job, a better life, of changing and improving who you are per your values, getting out of the thing you don't like. Our job isn't to be like, do it harder, do it faster. It's to be like, well, what's in your way? What's stopping you? And I implore you, if that sounds too simple, prove me wrong. Take some time and write down the things that are in your way. See what they are. Because what you'll be secretly doing, and you will have fallen into my therapist trap, is you'll be identifying the things that cause you feelings and anxiety. Or things that are biomechanically impossible. If, for instance, you're like, I want to eat the earth, and you're like, but my mouth is so small. Cool, you've solved the problem. You can't do that. But for most of us who are like, I want to move to California, I want to have a dog orphanage. Is that a term? A thing where you take in dogs, a dog shelter? I don't know, something good. For people who are like, I want to become faster or stronger. Like the I can't do it. If you sit with those and recognize what we were talking about earlier, the emotional influence, the anxious influence, the depressive influence, the societal influence, you can kind of begin to piecemeal a project towards those ends. And as we said in the last episode, I believe, anything that's a failure is just data about a different way to approach it. Automatic judgments internally are the death of this. Fear is the death of this. But fear isn't meant to be, this is like a whole thing, but like fear isn't meant to be an ongoing status effect. Fear is meant to be a temporary debuff that then is alleviated and you go on to the next thing. So if you are living in constant fear, which is not meant to sound dramatic, but if you're just like every day, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Like we got to help you move away from that. That is not fair to you. We have to find a level of gentler existence so that you can function at the way your brain wants to. That was a lot of spiel, but it is really important that people know these things because if you don't know these things, you will feel like it's your fault. You will feel trapped. That is not true.
Yeah.
People are incredible in this way.
And if this helps anyone, when I'm able to talk to some of the most successful people on the planet, and by success, I don't mean monetarily, although monetarily they are also successful. I mean, they are successful in that they did exactly what they want to do. They're really happy and all that stuff, and they're living the life they want to live. They treat everything they do like an investment on themselves. So even if it's a failure, they invested in the knowledge of what that failure has now brought them. They now have new tech. They have new knowledge. And on top of that, they should know this, and if they talk to me, they'll know it. Unless you have a significant cognitive disorder or you have brain damage or dementia or anything of that kind, if you have a brain of any kind, even neurodiverse brains, it is kind of impossible for you to not get better at a thing if you give yourself a second shot to do it. you will improve. You might not see the improvement, but your brain is literally creating new synapses, new things, new connective tissue to allow you to do the thing faster, more efficiently, better. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what brains are meant to do. It's impossible to do something 10, 20, 30 times in a row, and the 30th time isn't more efficient, isn't faster, isn't better than the first time that you did it, unless you actively were trying to do that in some weird way. But the brain can't do it. Like we literally, our brains work in a way in which we're always trying to connect dots to things. We're always trying to do it. When we don't have anything, we're trying to connect the dots. And so just knowing that and treating everything like an investment on yourself, regardless if it works out or not, I find leads to just a happier life. It leads to less catastrophizing when things do go wrong. But I mean, I remember a version of my life, John, 20 years ago when I did not feel that way. I felt like this has to go right. I'm doing this thing. This has to go right. Everything had, as you say, huge stakes to them. Everything had huge stakes. This car has to last me another year. I can't afford another car. And sometimes financially, sometimes, logistically, that's kind of where our life is. And we have to navigate that survival space. But when you can get to that space of let's take a shot. Let's do it. Didn't work out. All right, get another one. Whatever that looks and feels like for you. With that said, John, the segs into getting people to realize to get out of their stressful environment, whatever that is. But John, help me figure this out. Because, not all stress is bad. Some stress is good for you. There's even a thing called eustress, which is like a positive stress. And I imagine for someone listening, not our viewers, because our viewers don't count, but my listeners might be asking the question, well, how can I distinguish between the two?
Well, the viewers count doubly for me. So I'll be speaking exclusively to them. Listeners, I'm going to not say anything until you hang up. So take a moment, end the show. I mean it. Talking to you, Jake. Turn it off. Okay, we're good now. So talk about eustress versus regular old stress. Stress is funny. Stress is a good thing. Let me rewind that a little bit. Stress is a good thing at very certain levels for very certain lengths of time. Stress catalyzes action. It's actually quite healthy. So the other day I was driving. It was very windy. It's so windy. And I was doing an audio journal as I drive, as per I've said before. And I felt my car go, whoo. I drive a car that's shaped like a box, so the wind hits it really hard. So I feel it. And in my recording, I go, because you can feel the car drifting over. So I went whoop, and I corrected what I was doing, and I was good. That was really good. Thanks, stress. You helped me right out. It helps me make sure that I made the right choice. But then it was gone because I was fine. Detrimental stress that we've talked about before is ongoing, especially chronic stressor. Because stress, the system that I was just alluding to, is meant to be short-term, meant to be resolvable, meant to be hey, this is an indicator light. I'm doing a gesture that only the viewers can see. It's very helpful for this purpose.
Beep, beep,
you're
beep,
loving it.
beep, beep,
No,
beep,
it's not like that
beep,
at all.
beep,
It's not like
beep,
that.
beep.
Nope, nothing like that. Anyway, you're supposed to be able to go, oh, okay, I'll resolve that. Or you're supposed to be able to go, oh, okay, I'll tune that out. As long as that system is happening, that's fine. Eustress is a thing related to things that you want to happen. Allow me to give you a litany of examples. So a really great thing that's happened in my caseload in the last year is I had a couple of clients who, I was going to say without knowing, I assume they didn't have a cabal of people who chose to do this all at once, but I had several people who just had babies, on purpose, at the same-ish time. And if you're a person who has a baby, you already know where this is going. Babies are tremendously stressful. And yet most people who intentionally bring a baby into this land are very excited to do so. There's that thing where you see your baby, you're like, oh my God, what an incredibly special thing. Your body fires off and it's this is as close to spirituality as you're ever going to feel. There's that thing. People say this cute thing, I feel like my heart is outside of my body. I have this whole reason for joy that I never had before. And I care so much more about everything. That's really good. In fact, just biologically, evolutionarily, you should care about your baby. If you don't, that's really bad. We should talk about that. It's a whole other thing. But you probably do, and it's fine. But the way you can differentiate this at a quick glance is this a thing that I wanted? If I told this story to someone else, and I said, a person is dealing with chronic debt payments with interest that they can't get out of, versus a person is dealing with planning for a wedding for a person they love, bringing a baby into this world and accommodating for that and having a room ready for them. celebrating a friend's 50th birthday, taking on a new promotion at work. All of those, but the first one, are examples of eustress. They're very good things. And if you tell the story, people will go, oh yeah, sick for them. Love that. Amazing. But I do want to follow up on what Sam had kind of hinted at earlier, which is it hits your body the same way. A little more John lore dump here. My spouse and I are friends, but we are not spouses for much longer. We've chosen a while ago to separate and have gone through the motions for the last several months. And I remember, I say this with compassion and a warmth in my memory, she and I planning for our marriage. And it was like the most miserable time ever. Like the wedding itself, killer. And honestly, just a really like a wonderful experience. So many friends and family were there, and I think it was a really nice day. But like the trying to pick who would cater it and negotiating which would be the most affordable catering and figuring out how to get the flower stand to stand up at the venue and like how to get a donut wall to be available for enough. Like this is all stupid, banal. I don't know how to say any words. I'm so sorry. Banal. Cool. I'm not banal retentive. I don't care if that joke's good. I liked it. You can just, thank you. But it just like started to add up until eventually we were just like, fuck this. We're not doing this. This is just, I hate this. And that wasn't fair. Like it was actually a very like positive experience at the time. It's just that the stress, jacks up your cortisol. You're feeling really bad, and it's like it won't be okay. And then you're just constantly under siege because your body, once again, bodies don't speak in details. They speak in big, flat answers like things are bad or you are safe. So really good things can trigger that you are not safe feeling. I'd give one more example, and then I'd pass it back to Sam. One of my clients who I care so much about, she's one of my favorite people in the whole world. I adore this person. Has a little baby, a little cutie patootie baby, and is constantly worried about how this baby's going to impact everything. I can't watch my shows the way that I used to. Do you guys know about, what is it called? It's a hair tourniquet. Do you know what a hair tourniquet? I didn't know about this. With a baby, like you get one. I have long hair. And if like you get my hair and you twirl it around your finger and you're a full-sized adult me, you're like, all right, and you just pop it off. Babies don't got strong fingers and not strong toes. And they can like self-amputate with a hair.
Oh, okay.
And if you were ever just like, I'm comfortable with my baby having its toe amputated, I don't think you were. I think I'm the first person to say that possibly.
And if you are comfortable, get off the podcast.
Yeah, once again, you're not our demo.
Yeah, you're not the demo we're going for. We don't take bloody cat money. We don't take limbless child's money.
Yeah. But to the main point, worrying about your baby's toe being amputated via a hair turns out tiny bit valid. Like it can happen. But also the stress from that disproportionately intense for this individual, who is, for the record, an intelligent, clever, fun, smart, capable. This person's handled so much impossible shit in the time that I've known them. I adore and admire this person so deeply. But that was causing them so much stress. And it was stress over a baby that they had been so excited to have and bring into the world. There was so much fear and stress around, I need this, I want this to be so good. Me and my partner are going to feel so happy together. And all of that did come to fruition. There's all this wonderful warmth, but there's also this piece of like, I can't stop worrying about this. So eustress associated with good things like taking care of a child in this instance, it still hurts the same way. And frankly, still needs to be resolved the same way, which is a mixture of value accordant action and acceptance. For the record, value accordant action and acceptance is a lot of what therapy boils down to with good therapists. It's the execution of that that's hard because you're piloting an electric meat robot that is trying not to die and is sure that it will, especially if you're under high levels of stress, because that is like a genuine cortisol degradation of your nervous system. I'll skip all that sciencey stuff, but like, yeah. So to pass it back to Sam, you can tell by linking your values to the stressor. If it feels like a thing that touches your value, that's good. That is eustress. And if it doesn't, and it just feels cataclysmic or dangerous, or the impending doom cloud we all talk about, that is just the good old garden variety stress.
Yeah, I'm glad you made that distinction, John, because as we talk about stress, I would not want anyone listening, only listeners, viewers. You can think whatever you want. I would not want listeners and viewers to get the idea that all stress is bad. Stress is a very helpful thing. I know the people. I'm sure John knows the people. I think Daniel might know the people who literally kind of made it their mission to get rid of all stress in their life, like all stress in their life. And that is a certain kind of person that does not know why they are miserable. They do not know why. I don't get it. I have the easiest life. I got rid of everything, and yet the brain is still finding ways to come at me, man. I don't like this. The amygdala is just being a silly boy, as John says all the time. You need some kind of stress. You need some kind of something and where to anchor it, which is why the distinction of eustress and distress is very important.
Very well said. I would say a couple of things. Let me think of how I want to say this. So the first thing that I would say is that there's an issue with knowing that stress is supposed to be short term. If you have any stress, it should be resolved, which is why things like an economic crisis or other things along those lines can be very difficult because you can't be like, well, let me just go get my hammer and nails and just finish this economic crisis. Because that doesn't really work that way. But what you can do is say, I've done what I can. And at this point, I'm not able to do anything else. At this point, I've already implemented the value of coordinate action available. It is okay to put this off on a back burner because that's the only place it can go other than a front burner, and the front burner holds one thing at a time. So if you have a stressor that's hurting you and you've gone, I keep thinking about it, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, that's actually your brain giving you a signal you do know what to do, which is not interface with it anymore. And I know that it's scary to put it down because that little voice in your head, that little feeling in your chest is going, we can't put it down, it's wrong. From a radical acceptance standpoint, we're going to do the radical acceptance conversation, part 1 of 1,000. Radical acceptance has kind of like, in my mind, sort of a bad vibe, a bad stigma, because it feels a little, it is what it is-y, but it's not. Radical acceptance is based on the idea of if you can't change a thing, to ruminate upon it further is suffering. We don't do suffering at the ZD podcast. We do pain, we do feeling sad, we do struggling, but we don't do, I'm going to feel bad for no reason and get no benefit out of it, if possible. So once you say, I'm going to radically accept that this is going to be this way. So I don't care. Well, maybe I do, but whatever political party somebody falls into, if the other party wins a thing, it's scary. Whatever football team you like or other sports team you like, if the other team wins, it feels bad. There's nothing to do about it in that moment. You can feel your feelings so that your body can effectively discharge the tension that it's feeling or whatever else. You can communicate with somebody who can be close to you and care about it. That can disarm that same thing. But then radical acceptance says, I'm going to choose to not be okay with this, but I'm going to choose to begin devoting resources away from it and go back to Sam's point from earlier, which is I'm going to go do some sort of action elsewhere. I'm going to go do a action, an action, if you will.
Radical acceptance is fantastic because it's giving yourself permission to be the protagonist of the story. Because every story you've ever read, seen, watched, whatever, it's the same thing. There's a group of people, usually more than one, who do not want to accept the reality in front of them, and the hero of the story is the one who finally realizes the reality in front of them and does something about it. So that's exactly what you're able to do in that particular capacity. When you accept that, you get to be the hero. You get to be the Samwise Gamgee of the lore, as they say. And I love that for
Samwise. Yeah, I love that for you as well, dear viewer/listener. I opened myself up to some real easy shots here, but I have some beef with a couple internetisms over the years. The first one that ever bothered me was like, "You mad, bro?" Because it's funny, and I'll confess I've done that. Oh, you mad? You mad, bro? And like stupid like Reddit arguments. But like, it presupposes that being mad is invalid, which is fucking dumb. Like, yeah, I am. I'm functioning. I have a biological body that works. I'm experiencing anger. Like, that's dumb. It's like, oh, you breathing, bro? Like a wuss? You breathing again?
You pooping?
You're pooping, bro? You pooping, bro? Like, stupid. But and the current one is like, oh, they have main character energy. On the one hand, I do believe that like there can be some self-centered egocentrism that is maybe worth poking a little fun at. But no one shouldn't be the main character in their story. Like I said that earlier today, I think, but like it's really kind of hitting me, like how just real that is. Like, you should care what happens to you. You should be motivated to make a change. You should give yourself the grace to be the character of your story that you draw the most attention to and spend the most time with, and frankly, fucking cheer for. It's like a big deal. I talk about this, I'm sure I have before on the show, and I will again. If you externalize yourself and you view yourself as your friend, if you don't cheer for that person, we got work to do. Because that person's going to be with you for the whole fucking story. Yeah, I have a very niche complaint. There's a certain book franchise, perhaps about wizards, perhaps about a school where the wizards attend, perhaps it's British, perhaps owls are involved. And there's one book in particular, some would say it's the 5th book in that series, where the protagonist becomes insufferable. He is whining on every page the entire time. He's just like, oh, my friends are bad. Everything's bad. And perhaps that was the author's intent. I quit the series right there. I did not come back to it because I was like, I don't want this guy to win anymore. I hate this guy. He sucks. If that is how you feel about you, we got to rewrite some stuff. We got to do some character work. We got to turn out another book or something, because being able to cheer for yourself is I think Sam said it so well earlier. Like, he said it so well that I wrote it down, actually. Did I write it here? Did I write it here? I don't know. I wrote it all over the place. I don't know. The thing that I'm trying to say is that Sam was like, you have to have like a sense of self. See, there it was. Boom. And if your sense of self is a sense of shame, that's really tough. I'm gonna go on another tangent really fast. It's super fast. It's so fast. You'll believe how fast this is. So the tangent is this. There's a thing that you'll see sometimes, especially with folks who have like a good old CPTSD diagnosis, which is like, it's effectively PTSD plus like shame. That's a little reductive, but for our purposes, it's fine. Where they will over apologize for everything. And it comes from a place of like just legitimate trauma stuff, which we can get into another time, but also from a place of supposing and just assuming that you are the problem with the thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is a glitch. I say that with so much love for the people who have this situation going on. Your brain is going to keep putting you as the problem and the shameful thing and the thing that's holding things back. That's not actual reality. And it feels so fucking real. And people, when they hear me say this in my professional capacity, A, I say it a little bit less bluntly, but B, they want to believe me and they're scared to. Because it's so internalized. It's sort of like me saying, you know what, man? Like, green lights, those are the stop ones. You got to stop at the green ones and go through the red ones. People are like, that's fucking, no, it's very dangerous for me to believe that.
Yeah.
But what I'm telling you, from all of my years of experience, from the thousands of people I've known and worked with, from all of my schooling, and I'm sure Sam and Daniel too can back this up, like, that doesn't make you better and it doesn't make you safer. It makes you more alone and it makes you have chronic stress. And it's not you stress. It isn't this improving thing. It's this, I am bad and I have to own that lest I hurt more people than myself.
Yeah. Yeah, you couldn't have said it better myself. It's really frustrating, John. I'm going to be honest. I've been the guy who did the whole over humility thing. I've been the guy who apologized for everything. I've done that. I know how far you can take that, and there's a limit to it. And when I notice other people are going down that pathway, I'm like, man, I can't wait for you to get out of this. I cannot wait for you to either break through this or find new tech, as we say. Like, there's another way you can do this, because what you are doing right now is a short-term solve, but the cost and problem is massive. So many lovely people I know who, with the best of intentions, just apologize for everything. Literally, the mea culpa everything. And it's like, they literally, they learned this lesson that psychologists learned, which is they did the famous study that happened where they took a group of people, and they ran 2 different tests. And in one scenario, one person asks people on the street, "Hey, I left my phone out of my car. Can I borrow your phone?" And then another group of people said, "Hey, I'm really sorry about the rain. Could I borrow your phone? I left it in my car." One group of people just apologized for something they had no control over. And that group of people saw a 66% higher return in people wanting to give them their phone. So we know instinctually it works. We know that apologizing for things that are beyond your control makes you more approachable and likable. I get that. But there is a limit, and it subterfuges yourself for sure. And I do whatever I can in whatever way I possibly can to let people know, hey, man, if that's working for you, cool, but there is another way.
You raise such an important point. So at the end of the day, I do adhere to a lot of behavioral psychology, which, depending on where you are in your psychology student career, might sound like a spicy take, but there's a very obvious and real thing about reward. If I do a thing and I'm rewarded for it, my brain's like, neat, do it again. And if I go, oh my God, I'm so sorry, people are like, oh, yeah, approachable, friendly, nice. Mm-hmm. And you get an immediate short-term gain. Like Sam was just alluding to. Heads up, that stops. people start to get annoyed with it. And not like, fuck you. I've been away like, dude, you don't have to be sorry for everything. Like, it's actually okay. Like, it's not your fault. But those initial gains hit really hard. And there's a whole reinforcement principle that we can talk about this, but like sporadic here and there reinforcement really nails patterns in. So this is a very hard thing to break. And as a quick aside, just to validate, I'm not even touching the trauma side of this. There's like a whole other trauma side of this that's like hard to get to. So if you are a person who's been in this position and you're hearing me out, first of all, know that like this is a thing that gets treatable. It can get better. This changes. I've seen it. But I also know that like I just want to put in people's ears. If this happens to you, really working on this self-efficacy stuff, this really self-concept stuff, it will help. You deserve it. Everybody can have it. My favorite thing, man, I've said it 4 times in this fucking episode, but my favorite thing is the notion that the distress we feel is subjective. Whatever pains you feel aren't like a real concrete truth. They're like a thing you're going through. And you have a little bit of editorial power to change how those hit you. So when you have that insight and you're like, oh, hang on, I want to do this differently. Can I go on this little tiny brief thing really fast? I've already decided to do it. So thank you for the permission. Which is, and this is for everybody. If this impacts you or not, I don't care. Do this thing. Little electric meat cookbook recipe for you. What I want you to do is think of a thing that you're happy about in your life. Maybe you just did good in a video game, in a meeting you were in. Maybe just a person who you liked said a nice thing to you. Maybe you just have a banging outfit today. What I want you to do is to go to a person and say, can I brag about something real quick? Use your own regional dialect. That's how we talk over here. You can say, yo, can I share something good with you? Or can you say, can I be a little hype for myself about this? So what you're doing is you're approaching it in a curious, gentle way. And the person will say yes. And if they don't, good, bullet dodge, run for the hills. But more often than not, they'll say yes. You go, here's my little thing that I did. I like the way this shirt looks. And they'll be like, oh, cool. This starts to help lay a nice little layer of like, it's okay to like yourself. It's super easy. It costs you 5 seconds. And if for the record, you hear me say this and you're like, dog, that's not easy at all. That sounds fucking terrible. That's a good information piece for you. And not in like a shitty way. Not in like, get your shit together. In a way of like, if you can't do that, it tells me that your brain has a wound. And the idea of liking yourself is scary. So obvious plug here goes in like, this is the thing to talk about with therapists. And we are trained for this one. So it works. I don't know. Like at the end of the day, I'm an optimist for 2 reasons. 1, it's scientifically better for you. And 2, like I do believe at the end of the day, like the news is good. Like you can change your perspective. Yeah. You can pivot from the things that hurt to things that feel good. It's quite possible. I'd be a real shitty therapist if I didn't think that. And I do.
With that said, you just brought something up I want to reiterate. If you follow our Blue Sky account, you might have noticed we celebrated one person's life in particular who recently passed. Rob Reiner, the famous director, passed away earlier. But one of the most profound quotes he said was this. Let me make sure I get it right. I want to make sure I don't screw this up. Everybody talks about wanting to change things and help and fix, but ultimately all you can do is fix yourself. And that's a lot. Because if you can fix yourself, it has a ripple effect. That was his exact words.
That's great.
And I can't agree with that more. I would say my trademark 100%, but I'd actually want to say 200% if I could.
Yeah, no. A of all I agree, and B of all I agree again. I just super to the, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so like one more little bonus, like therapeutic anecdote. There's things comes up all the time. People really struggle to put their needs first because they have loved ones who need things, kids who need things, people in their community with special needs who need things. Like these are real things that they're valid, right? And I'd be real weird. I was like, those are stupid. Don't do those. Like that's not the take. But it's bouncing off of this quote, which is like, the way I like to phrase it is like a high tide raises all boats. If you take care of yourself, the people around you will receive better care. Quick fucking specific shout out. One of my favorite populations to work with, where I'm the therapist, is other therapists. It's really fun to be a therapist with other therapists. I see a therapist too. He's great. But like people who provide help in any capacity, teachers, oh my God, teachers, you're at the top of the list, just so you know. A of all teachers, thank you so much. Sincerely, you are the most undervalued people in the world and you make such a colossal difference. I see you. I talk about this all the time. It is okay to be like, I can't do this today. I need a break. It is okay to like prioritize those needs because you will be better at serving the people you serve. You'll be better at helping and you'll be a longer term, more sustainable thing.
Doing something infinitely does not mean doing it at the cadence that isn't right for you. It's a very common thing I see with teachers, with all kinds of people in the healthcare industry. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, hey, man, I mean, obviously the world needs you. Obviously, you know, I'm not saying don't stop saving lives, but, and obviously there is a point where, like, you know, I think when the pandemic happened, a lot of healthcare people were like, you know, screw my feelings. Like, I'm burned at both ends, but I got to save lives. But I know a lot of people who left that life because they felt like they couldn't keep up with the pace of that cadence. I'm like, okay, can't keep up with that pace of the cadence. Find another one that you can keep doing what you want to do, especially if it's your passion and what you love.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page with this one, which is moving towards change. Very valuable, very scary, very confusing. But I would echo the thing we said earlier, which is like, if you keep doing it, you will find a way. There isn't. It might take longer than you think. You might end up at a different destination than you thought originally. But like, effort doesn't get wasted. That's real. Effort doesn't get wasted. It'll get you somewhere. And if you don't think that's true, you should let me know. And that isn't me throwing down a gauntlet, or if it is, it's like a mitten. It's like a real friendly gauntlet. But like, I do think sometimes people benefit from exploring this. So like, let me know. We can talk about it. The main character thing, I would draw another parallel. If you're a nerd, which there's an okay chance you might be, and if you're not, maybe be one. It's a lot of fun. I recommend it. There's this common composition. You find it in video games, and you find it in Dungeons and Dragons and all sorts of media, where you have like party roles. Sometimes you'll find it in even like Guardians of the Galaxy. They kind of have this. Like, you have like your hitting stuff guy. You have like your be in the front line, like big tough guy. You have your like, you know, your ranged guy. You have like your wizard or your perhaps archer. You have perhaps a sneaky rogue type. You fall into these archetypes, and it's fun because each of them can have like a scene where they're the best. And I like to talk, when I talk about these things, about the bard, and it's because bards like bring life to the party. So if you're like, I'm not this, Timmy's good at this, Billy makes more money, like whatever else, you might be the bard. You might be like the fun one who's bringing this little zany energy. And maybe, you know, maybe you're a bard that makes sex puns every 4 lines, and people are like, I kind of hate you. Someone else will really like that. Like, finding your fit is important, and it's so important to know that there are so many more categories to fit in. Humans are so cute. We love categories. That book series that I was alluding to earlier may or may not have 4 houses where you can get filtered into to be a wizard of a specific flavor. And also, weirdly, like, and these are the bad ones was an option that the author wrote. Very nicely and subtly done. Good job, author, he said sarcastically. But like, that's not the case. Like, there's so many flavors. We're way more Baskin Robbins than Hogwarts around here. Like, there's plenty of options for the thing that you are. And if you haven't found yours, what happens is you keep trying to be one that you are told exists, and you're kind of like, and that's dumb. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. But like, it feels really bad. You're going to try on 3 hats that don't fit you, and that's okay. And I promise you, later you will laugh about it. It might hurt in the moment. Try it out. Have fun. It's free. No cost. If your brain just said there was a cost, that's anxiety.
Also, you deserve to be in an environment where people celebrate that about you.
So true. So true. So true. So aggressively true. I feel like, to kind of go the inverse way of what Sam just said, you also deserve to not be in an environment where people put you down for trying stuff. Because that's fucking stupid. And it happens a lot. And it happens because, frankly, if I'm just being blunt and cutting to the chase, because people are insecure. Because they go, that's different than the model that I understand. I don't like that. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to have to change. I don't want to have to adapt. That's their problem. Not even said in a combative way, said in a way of like, they just don't get it. Yeah. If you show me a song that you really like, and I'm like, I don't care for this song, cool. That genre of music is still great. Don't worry about what I think. It doesn't matter.
I'll take a moment to flex, or as John just said, can I brag for a second?
Hell yeah, man. Let it rip.
On that note, if you are watching or this podcast, listening to this podcast, you are probably familiar with the socials and all the different ways you can consume content. You might find that a lot of content, the stuff that's in your face a lot, is all kind of samey. It's all kind of doing the same thing. And there's reasons for that, right? There's psychological reasons. There's people try to hack your attention span and make that work. And that's whatever that is. But I am especially proud of Zero Dot that we are actively not doing that. That we are singing a different tune of music. And we are not for everyone. But the people that we are for, I think, were something special. So thank you, John and Daniel, for that.
Thank you, man. And I'm eating a cookie because I thought I had 2 more bites worth of talking. So my apologies. This is who I am, though. Anyway, I also want to do like a genuine thank you to anybody who is watching this. Seriously, we have some lofty ambitions here at ZD, and it only works if the whole fucking team plays. Because talking into a void about positive shit is fun. Like, I would hang out with these guys on the weekend anyway and just do this. It's just a good time. But if other people don't hear it and make this whole thing happen, and I don't mean our show. I mean making a dent in the world to make shit better. Bringing the good news along to other people, helping the people in your community feel better and supported. Then this is not important. It's still fun. I would still do it, but you make a difference. Because we all have decided before, if this show never makes a dime, we want to tell people things to help them feel better. I was driving home from the city of Minneapolis to my home in the boonies, and I was leaving YouTube on as a podcast on the way here, and it was just angry. It was so angry. And it was AI is bad, government bad, everything bad. And I was shuffling, I was trying to find other things. And then one of them was it was penguins are fluffy, or it was just some random thing that was nice. But by and large, I do think it's important to not get too caught up in a culture that wants you to click, like, and subscribe. I mean, I do want that to happen for the purposes of our communal growth, but at the same time, much more importantly, I do want to not be part of a culture that spreads growth via fear. Fear is the most accessible emotion. You can reach people's fear faster than you can reach their joy or their vulnerability by 1 billion fucking percent, which is also cheap. I have a take. This is a hot take. I might lose a viewer or two over this. I love horror movies. I don't love jump scare movies. If you jump scare me and tell me that I was scared, no, that's not true. You made me physically react to a stimulus. If you paint a terrifying existence in spooky times, and I'm oh God, I'm in the zone, amazing. And I feel the clickbait bullshit of this is bad, look at it, it's so much easier to make. And this isn't me being self-aggrandizing here. This is just a thing that I want to talk about as a phenomenon. I do sincerely say thank you to anybody who's hanging out with us for this, because you've chosen to do a thing that hopefully helps you feel a little better, helps you feel a little more armed against some of the scary shit out there.
Yeah. It's
real easy to just click on the next thing and just be all right, fucking, this is bad. Or this is stimulate or whatever else. But and also really important, and maybe this is just me having anxiety, but that's not me passive aggressively guilting you for not paying enough attention, especially if you have ADHD. That's totally fine. It doesn't fucking matter. I just think making a choice towards what hopefully is a positive or kind for you. It's the same choice of choosing to go to the gym, right? In theory, it's the same choice as choosing to text your family member and be hey dog, been thinking about you. Same choice as taking your dog a slightly extra long walk. Pick the positive thing, pick the kind thing. It's harder, takes a little more time. The net gains are ridiculous. I have enough of a sample size to prove that, and I want to talk about it every single day. So thank you for hearing us out on that.
Yeah. I know that it will be harder for us to grow a large audience when we don't use clickbait, we don't use rage bait, we don't misinform people, we don't mislead people, and we don't use fear for our own gain. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if it never happens at all. I would not be doing this if we had to resort to those tactics. I would never do that. I never want to be part of anything that does that. If you think that our thumbnails could be more clickbaity, could grab people's attention more, okay, I'm not going to do it. If you think that we are going to, come in arms flailing, shouting at the top of our lungs about everything that's wrong, everything that's bad, and we are putting the fear into you just so that we can get your clicks, no, not going to do it. And if you think I'm going to sit here and ask you to click like and subscribe and ding the bell for notifications, I am. Because it helps. It really helps. But I'm not going to force you to. And I'm not going to make a big deal of it. If you like what we do, please do that. It helps. But at the same time, I want you to like us for who we are. I want you to like the content for what it is. I don't want to trick you. None of us want to trick you. None of us want to hurt you. We want to hang out and be cool with you. So thank you. As a note from me, who is not as audience facing as the other two people on this podcast. A sincere thank you from me as well.
Lovely message.
Yeah, very well said. And that voice every time. Just perfection. I will always show this. Like, we all have like a little like shill spiel. Say that. That's fun. Shill spiel. Mine will always include this part, which is if you're like, hey, this is my thing that bothers me, fucking tell us, please, because this show is better if it's for the people who are watching it. And man, trust and believe, as you can tell from watching or listening, anything, we can talk about shit forever. Like we got plenty of material for 800 years. But I feel like I want people to be part of this, so this can be the people's show, so that it can feel like just we are on the same team. That is the dream. Like, to get really ambitious and frankly, maybe very, very honest with you, there is a level of ambition underlying this thing that's not financial. It's that the world sucks in a lot of ways right now, and we deserve better, and we can have better, and we're going to make better. And if you're like, no, we can't because of blank, fucking let's talk about it. Let's make that happen. It feels good to be like activated on this. It feels good to be part of this. I want that to be you. I want the whole fucking team, man. Like, I want everybody on the same team.
Absolutely.
And we're not even the captains of the team. We're a mouthpiece. That's all we are.
And you can submit your questions in a variety of ways. You can comment on our podcast, wherever you look at podcasts. We look at all of those things. You can submit your questions to questions@thezero.podcast.com, or you can go to our website where we literally have a form saying, hey, man, what are your questions? Pop that sucker in. And if you put your name in, we'll shout you out in the podcast. If not, we'll still talk about the question. We want to make this for you.
For you. And with you.
And with you. But by us, because we want to take all the credit.
By us.
And more for the viewers also. A little less for the listeners exclusively. So maybe if you're a listener, don't write anything in. I'm going to stand by that.
I will now do the thing where I'm just like, I need something from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you need?
Either one of you. We didn't say goodbye to the viewers and the listeners and everything. We haven't ended this episode. We haven't ended this episode. Give us a little goodbye, would you, gents, please?
Well, that wraps up our episode. I hope you found this enjoyable, educational, maybe a little enticing, maybe a little perky. I can't wait to hear your questions if you submit them at thezero.podcast.com. I can't wait to hear from you on all the socials that we're on. Can't wait to just vibe with you even more. John, Daniel, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you next year.